Welcome back, everybody, to our second session in our SDG challenge around the ideal education system. I hope that everybody is feeling happy to be back and excited to reconnect with our teams to keep solving one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals around ensuring quality education for all. We're really happy today to be starting with a speaker, Gina Jeneroux, who's the Chief Learning Officer at the Bank of Montreal, or BMO. BMO is an international bank that believes in boldly growing the good in business and in life. And Gina's role at the bank means that she's really familiar with how to teach skills to different types of people. And also through her role on different committees outside of the bank, really aware of where the future is heading and the skills we need to develop in order to build the future we imagine. So while Gina talks, I encourage you to think about what Gina's saying and how it might relate to the ideal education system that you're building with your group. Or even think about how what you're hearing is relevant or how it's applied to the skills you're developing and being part of this program. What are we learning that's going to make us more successful or help us to create the future of our imagination? So before I hand it off to Gina, who I'm so grateful is here, just one last thing. There will be a chance for some questions at the end. So while Gina's speaking, if you have a question to ask, I encourage you to put it in the chat box, and then we'll come back to that after Gina has introduced a bit more expertise and wisdom for us to feel inspired by. So over to you, Gina, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Erin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am so excited to be with you today. It's such an honor to be able to join you as you embark on the second week of your challenge. I'm going to share a few trends that I see on the horizon and also talk about the skills that are especially important as we prepare for the future. And when it comes to new skills for the new world, the future truly starts now. First, though, I'd like to take you back a little bit, back a few years. When I was a kid, I was the puzzle solver, the curious explorer, the dreamer who imagined distant worlds. I loved technology, innovation, and the promise of tomorrow. Maybe I haven't changed so much. I remember imagining what life would be like in the future. I pictured the gadgets, the robots, and all the sci-fi possibilities. As we set our sights on 2025, 2030, and beyond, little did I know that vision might not be too far off. We're already living in a world of emerging artificial intelligence and machine learning, renewable energy, the Internet of Things, and bio and nanotechnology. These changes are transforming our lives. They're impacting businesses around the world and impacting the global economy and providing opportunities to do things we've only dreamed of. All of this is providing a new context. I come to you from BMO Financial Group, or Bank of Montreal as we're known in Canada. We're the 8th largest financial institution in North America. We serve 12 million customers in 22 countries around the world. And at BMO, we're really proud to be members of a variety of global networks. We get together with companies like Microsoft, Google, Cisco, GE, Disney, and others to be able to start to identify what do we see on the landscape? What are we seeing about challenges and opportunities? And what do we do about them starting now? And there are 5 particular trends that we've really been focusing on at BMO as we look to the future. The first one, probably not too surprising, is Digitech. And that's really about how technology is accelerating. It's giving us opportunities to do things we've never been able to do before. And it's moving faster and faster. And that means we need skills to be able to work with this technology and to be able to create digital solutions. So much of digital is really relying on artificial intelligence and being able to create something that feels like it's made for you, to be able to have the personalization of the technology that you use every day. The next trend is simplicity. It's about choosing to be simple versus choosing to be complex. And simple's hard. It's about choosing the simplest infrastructure, technology, processes, and experiences so that things are as simple as they need to be effective. Demographics, again, not a surprise. We have 5 generations now working in the workforce. We have a more multicultural workforce and customer base and community than we've had ever before. And we have so many diverse perspectives. People are coming with different backgrounds and experiences and really being able to come to the table with different expectations, which is exciting. Social is the next trend. And it's not just social media, although that plays a huge impact in so many lives, but it's also social innovation and social enterprise. It's about helping people be part of something bigger than themselves. As Erin mentioned, at BMO, our purpose is to boldly grow the good in business and life. And that really frames how we think about the impact we can make on thriving economy, on the sustainable future, and on making sure that we focus on inclusion and inclusive society. And finally, economic. It's really the culmination of the other ones, but it's the financial impacts. And over now, we're seeing such volatility, such change, globalization, nationalism. We're seeing interest rate changes. We're seeing people change jobs at record rates. There's a lot of movement in the system right now, and that's creating impact for individuals, companies, countries, and around the world. And none of these trends are really new, but they're coming together in ways that amplifies their impact. And skills are changing too. The World Economic Forum has predicted that 40% of the skills in every single job will change by 2025. And the half-life of a skill, so that's the time it takes for a skill to start to get stale, is 2 to 5 years. So everyone needs to be learning all the time and really being able to keep themselves refreshed and new and gaining new skills. At BMO, we've been focusing on 3 types of skills. The first is technical. So these are the things like data science, cloud engineering, business, and finance. And they're really coming together to help us create the world that we're all imagining for the future. Social and emotional skills are the second bucket. These are things like human skills or power skills like empathy and resilience. These are the things that set us apart from the technology. And then higher cognitive, creative, or creativity, innovation, problem solving. And this last point is really important because we're trying to solve new problems that we've never seen before. Let me share a quick story. In the 1990s, NASA embarked on a study with 1,600 4 and 5-year-olds. They ran these children through a number of experiments and play and tests, and they discovered that 98% could be considered creative geniuses. So NASA followed them through grade school, through high school, and into adulthood. So 98% were creative geniuses at 4 and 5 years old. What do you think the percentage was by the time they got to be adults? Type in the chat. What do you think the percentage was when they grew up? We've got 100, we've got 1 to 5, we've got 10, we've got 2. So many great guesses, 16%. The answer, Melanie's right, is 2%. So they went from 98% before school to 2% after they were done school. And it actually went from 98% to 30% in grade school, 12% in high school, and 2% in adulthood. And if you think about why that happened, a lot of it has to do with the way we've traditionally approached school. School taught these kids to learn the right answer, not how to solve problems. And so I share this story because it's the lived experience of so many people around the world. And it's clear that all of you are different. You're coming together to solve one of the biggest problems we have in front of us, and that's how to ensure quality education for all. How do we need to change, adapt, or add to the way people learn to make the world more future ready? As I look at all of you, I am excited to imagine that future. You give me confidence that our future is bright. I would love to open it up to any questions you have, and so excited to be able to to talk to you this morning.
Big thanks, Gina. Does anyone have a question? If you want to put it in the chat box or raise your hand. And maybe to start us off, I'll ask you a question, Gina. As somebody who's so close to learning models within Bank of Montreal and so familiar with learning models around the world through these global networks that you're part of, do you have any specific trends about what makes a learning opportunity or a learning model effective in cultivating the skills that we know are so important to be successful in the future?
It's such a great question, Erin. Thank you. And there is no one right answer. It really depends on what you're trying to learn. We try to make sure that people have an opportunity to build a strong foundation, so they're able to engage in the core knowledge that they need. And often that's done more self-study. So that could be virtual, it could be digital, it could be in a whole host of ways. We're experimenting with virtual reality and augmented reality, as well as putting learning in the palm of people's hands, so that they're able to kind of come on their own terms and learn things at a foundational level. And there's a place for face-to-face too. So as we think about the ways that we bring people together to learn, whether that's physically or virtually, these are the places where people can debate, discuss, challenge each other, practice, and be able to gain greater comfort and confidence. So, we have about a quarter of all of our learning that happens in central face-to-face classrooms, sort of like your traditional school kind of environment in the bank. But we also have a huge percentage of what we do that's delivered through virtual channels. We are really trying to push the bounds. So we're trying to get people excited and learning every day. So we create these quick opportunities for videos, podcasts, articles, and different ways of getting people to get in and get the knowledge they need, be curious and learn new things, as well as learning the specific things they need for the job in the future. So we're really trying to be super broad. And as I mentioned, we're trying to push the bounds, even using neuroscience and AI now. And it starts to learn about your knowledge and your confidence, and it will custom design the learning program that you get on the fly. And so your program is different from my program. It's opening up a lot of doors.
It gives me hope that we're able to accommodate diverse types of learners and really bring diverse perspectives forward. And I'm curious to know, there's I think a really good follow-up question here from Marco. How do you raise the passion of students on studying? Or I think even if we bridge from the idea of customized learning, how do you make it relevant or ensure everybody is engaged in the learning opportunity?
Another fantastic question. A lot of it is really about meeting people where they are. And so we introduced something called BMO a few years ago, and it actually enables people in the company, in our company, to do whatever learning they want. And so we have learning that applies to their job. It helps them plan for their career. It helps them prepare for the future of work, but it also helps them follow their passions. So, I've got people in my team who are really interested in medieval art, other people who like rugby or F1 racing, and they actually learn more about those topics. I'm told that I'm a bit eclectic in the things that I learn, because I do the things that I need for my job, things like leadership and strategy and design. But I also am into robotics and AI and archaeology and forensics and space and dinosaurs and all kinds of interesting things. And I find that it's those things that get me excited and coming back, every day. But it also helps me solve the problems that I may have in my day job where I'm getting stuck. And I just need to think differently to get unstuck. So the more you learn and the more you do different things, the more you're able to tap into what excites you and also think differently.
Amazing. And I'm going to ask this, this is great. There's so many good questions, and I think we have time for just one more. So I'm going to ask for your seed of wisdom here around how can the students on this program today, our young people, one who's in grade 5 is asking the question, and I think we span broader than this, how can they be better prepared or be better ready for the future jobs?
So I think one of the biggest skills that will serve all of us well, as we're looking into the future, is learning how to learn, being curious. There's a great quote that says, "Learning ignites a curiosity you never even knew you had." And I think that's what's got to be at the heart of how we think about learning. It's about making learning a habit. It's about doing it all the time and not just thinking about it for the course you need to do, or for the class you need to do, or the homework assignment, or that sort of thing. It's about, what do you want to learn more about? How do you learn the things you need to learn, but learn them in a way that matters to you? How do you keep checking things out? One of the things that I do when I'm looking to hire people, if two people have roughly the same qualifications, I will always hire the person who's learning all the time, who's curious, who's agile, who's nimble, and is really trying to help themselves be ready for anything. And so it's that spark that I think is going to make such a difference. Officially, you'll see it called things like growth mindset, but it really means being open and learning all the time and being curious and really trying to push things forward.
Gina, thank you for being here and this conversation. And I'll just share one of the reflections I'm having hearing you respond to that last question is I think that we have a group of young people on this call who are doing the right thing by being part of a program like this one and collaborating with global peers and showing up with curiosity and that growth mindset and the creativity to put against one of the world's biggest problems. So thank you for giving us all the validation that this is worthwhile and so much really wise context as we go into session 2 of designing the ideal education system.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're going to have another session sometime, not right now, but later, where we're just going to have an open conversation about all these issues. I think this is a great way. Wonderful. Well, what are we going to do today? Today, you students, what you have been doing is you've been thinking about what you would want to include and what would you want to exclude from an ideal education system. Hopefully you put that into Padlet. You're going to be sharing your ideas